Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Puff. I've been a member of the Houston Rose Society since 1985. I'm an ARS horticulture and arrangements judge. I now live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm here to help you get started with a simple arrangement. The first thing you have to decide is what kind of container you're going to use. Uh, Here's a lovely vase of mine, but I wouldn't use this for an arrangement because it's so elaborate. You don't want the container to overshadow the roses. In a rose arrangement, the roses themselves have to be the dominant element of the arrangement. So I'm going to put this vase aside. Here are some other possibilities. If you have some small roses, you could use something like this. Um, put some oasis in there. Here's a little plastic gadget you can find at a Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and it fits into a candle holder and holds the oasis for you to use in your arrangement. That's another way you can go. Here's what I'm going to use today. Simple, plain, and you want to use oasis in an arrangement like this, or else you're going to just have everything going straight up out of the vase. We want it to come down and be interesting also. So I have pre-cut and pre-soaked thoroughly this bit of oasis here. You notice I left a trunk on the bottom of it. It's going to go into the vase, which I've already filled with water. So this part will be in the water and will continuously feed to the arrangement, what I have in the oasis. Now, if you need to, if you're afraid this is going to be a little rickety, then you can use some floral tape. Also, at those stores I mentioned, you can get this. This is clear tape, water resistant, and you can tie that on. Oh, I didn't do that quite long enough. But you get the idea. Should have made it a little longer. It'll fit onto the vase itself. Okay. Now, another thing we need to know is in a traditional arrangement, there should be something that appears like it's only one point of emergence of the flowers. And you want that to be in the center. The focus of this line arrangement will be right above the lip of the vase. Now, there are people I've seen who can do an arrangement backwards. I'm not one of those people. So we'll start over here. It's February and we don't have roses in Raleigh, but we do at Trader Joe's. They're usually a little tight and they don't have much foliage on them, but you want the most open roses right at the center, right above the uh, lip of the container. There's our start. We're going to go up and down. Now, the other thing we need to consider is line material. It's a line arrangement, and we want to have something in the arrangement other than just the roses. I went out in my yard and cut some things. Here's some rosemary. And there, that will be the top of the arrangement. I also want to have line material coming down. So here's another piece of rosemary. Let me strip it down a little bit. Even a little more. So you see with the oasis above the vase, you can have things aiming down instead of just all up. Now we're going to fill in with some other roses. You'd like to have a gradation of rose sizes. I told you you want the most open one here. And then they're all real tight when you buy them at the store. So we'll go up and pretend that they're more open than they are. Pretend that they have nice foliage. You want to leave a little space between the roses. You don't want them real crowded, but you also don't want to leave big gaps either. Like I say, the tighter ones will go at the top and the bottom. That rosemary got moved around a little bit. See, this one doesn't want to go in. There. So that's the beginning of the line. We'll do a couple of more roses up top. And maybe one more. So we hope that your roses will look a little better than these and have nice foliage on them, which these don't. So there you have a simple line. Now, the other thing we want to do is hide the mechanics. So we've got a lot of oasis here showing. And normally I would cover that up with rose foliage, but you can see what this rose foliage looks like. Not much. So let's do something else. See if we can use a little more rosemary. We don't want it to be too much. Just trying to hide the oasis a bit. If it's too much, then it will be a line mass arrangement, which we're going to talk about next. Like I say, I need to look at this from the front. So it's not completely hidden, but we're going to go on from here. So that's your simple line. Now, there are different kinds of lines. It doesn't have to be just perfectly straight like this. You can do a crescent. You can do a horizontal line. You can also have a triangular line that goes either right or left. As long as you follow the line, then that's good. Now, we can now turn this into a line mass arrangement, which means it's going to have more material and it's going to have more roses. And generally that's going to be near that focal point that we talked about. There's another rose in here. Do on the other side. A little more rosemary. Now this has become a line mass arrangement. Here's the mass near the focal point, right above the lip of the container. I know everybody calls them vases, but when you do arrangements, you have to call them containers, or the real big arrangers look at you funny. Now, what can we do to make this even fuller? We can turn it into a mass arrangement. We'll add more roses. And we can add more plant material. This is all stuff I just went out cut in the yard. We're going to get rid of this rosemary that really defined the line and maybe have some nandina here. Which will look a little fuller. And it will also help cover up that oasis that we don't want to be seeing. Let's see, one more. Oops. Now we have a mass arrangement, but still it looks like everything's emanating from the same part, the center of above the lip of the vase, and the roses are definitely dominant. The greenery I added, the Nandina branches, don't detract. They help frame the arrangement. So see how simple it is? I know you can all do this with your own roses. If you have smaller roses, use a smaller container. Uh, and make sure you soak the oasis thoroughly because you don't want your roses hitting an air bubble inside the oasis and drawing in air instead of the water that they need. Um, I would ask if there are any questions, but we can't do that in this presentation. So I hope you've learned something, and I hope you're not afraid to make an arrangement, whether it's a line mass, or a mass, depending on how many roses you have and the quality of them. If you're doing an arrangement that uses very few roses, like that line, the quality of the roses needs to be better. You can get away with more uh, if there are more roses because when they're getting graded, there's a certain number of points for quality of the roses. Well, if you have a dozen roses in the arrangement and one of them's not so hot, you might lose a couple of points. But if you only have three roses and one of them's not so hot, you might lose, 7 or 8 points. So um, there we have our mass arrangement. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.